What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Urban Platform Speaks. Make sure to like and subscribe as you tune into the channel. Check out the content. And with that being said, man, I want to speak on uh, an episode. Shout out to Dreamers Pro, right? I was listening to Dreamers Pro, and he was talking about this LeBron James doing a docu series, and uh, and I don't have any problem with LeBron James doing a docu series or anybody who want to do a docu series and do what Michael Jordan did, right? Like copying and stuff like that. But sometimes you have to you gotta come up with your own ideas. That's my thing about LeBron James. Like a lot of things that LeBron James have done throughout his career, almost like like he don't have any imagination or for himself, or his team don't have any imagination for itself, right? Because LeBron James, he's different than Michael Jordan. You're not the same. Everything that worked for Michael Jordan is not going to work for LeBron James. And that's why I said, Michael Jordan, with even as proof, like Michael Jordan with that Last Dance documentary. Remember, that documentary came out at the perfect time. It came out when, like everything was shut down. And so people basically had to stay home, and because people were home, the numbers were up, and that, in my opinion, that's what was the advantage throughout Michael Jordan's whole career, right? He caught like a perfect storm. You think about when Michael Jordan came into the league, when Michael Jordan came into the league, a lot of things went on. It was, that benefited Mike. Nike was really blowing up at the time. That benefit, Mike and Nike worked together. That blew up. That was good. The NBA was expanding. The NBA was turning into an international sport, right? To grow the sport. And so Michael Jordan was, he was a big part of that. But those type of opportunities didn't exist for Kobe, and they definitely don't exist for LeBron James. Like the game is already international. So what else can LeBron James do to really extend the game? Nike is already the biggest, like when it comes to basketball sneakers and shoes and sports apparel and stuff, right? Like that. So Nike is already big like that. So what can LeBron James can't grow with Nike, and he can't take Nike to a place where they have never been before because they're already there, right? And so when you think about things like that, then that means, what does that mean? That means that you got to think outside the box. If you are LeBron James or Team LeBron, you got to think outside the box, you know, because Mike just keep on hitting situations. Like I said, with that the COVID thing went on, everybody was home, and the numbers just went through the roof. It was a major success. Now, would people have watched the Michael Jordan documentary if it wasn't for probably? So I'm sure they would have. But that situation too definitely helped Michael Jordan out, right? It just helped to add to his to his legendary status. And I think if you LeBron James, man, you saw what happened with Michael Jordan and that Last Dance documentary. You were like, oh wow. On one hand, you kind of had to be mad because you realized that, like, it really, like, the situation really worked to his benefit. How, if you LeBron James, how you going to duplicate that? You can't duplicate that. LeBron James did a what was that movie? Michael Jordan did the cartoon movie. I forgot what that was called. Space Jam. LeBron James did a Space Jam, right? That it flopped. It really did. It didn't do nowhere near or had the success that what Michael Jordan did. That's why I said, if I'm LeBron James, man, I want y'all to come up with some fresh, some new ideas that fit me, that appeal to me, and that will benefit me. We just can't go and just whatever Mike did, do what Mike did. The chalk toss and wearing his number and Space Jam and Docuseries and stuff like that. Like, I just want LeBron James to come up with one fresh idea, that really just benefits him and just sets him apart from everybody else. But let me, I want to react to some of what the guy Charles Stefanski had to say on Dreamers Pro, and so I'm gonna play some of his audio, and then I'm gonna come back and give my input.
We see them. Let's get into today's show. So, folks, as you guys know, LeBron James has an obsession with catching Michael Jordan, right? And controlling narratives and all of that. So it was no surprise today when we got the big news that he's going to be he's in conversation rather, with having releasing a docuseries or documentary or whatever the hell it is, something to be on par to what Michael Jordan did with The Last Dance. And we're going to get into that in a moment, the details of it. But I just got to say this, man. Like, when are y'all going to hop off Michael Jordan nuts, bro? Like, for real, bro. When y'all going to hop off that dude nutsack, man? Like, y'all are stalking Michael Jordan. And you know the funniest part? Every time I see MJ, he's always like on a yacht or something and living life. Living his best life. Living his best life. Meanwhile, y'all up here still trying to convince, like, it's just so ridiculous. So before we even get into the details of it, today's video is brought to you by.
All right, let me say this too. It just seems like every time Michael Jordan do something, he hit a home run. And so I guess LeBron James is thinking that if Michael Jordan hit a home run and I'm coming behind Michael Jordan, if I do the same thing, then I'm gonna hit a home run. And if unfortunately for LeBron James, things is just not working out that way. So let me try to speed this up because I want to go past this little commercial that they doing. Yeah, but it's not working out like that for LeBron James, man. And that's because LeBron James is not showing any originality, man. His team is not showing any originality. And Mike always seemed to be the beneficiary, like almost like if it was planned. And I know he didn't plan that, that 2020 shutdown or anything like that, man, but it just worked out like that for him. And next thing you know, his docu-series went through the roof.
Oh, let's put it up here. Some Yahoo posts. It's all over the internet, but we'll just talk about this one here. So this one says LeBron James and ESPN are closing in on an agreement for a behind-the-scenes documentary series that will be similar to Michael Jordan's Last Dance, per The Athletic, Andrew Marchand. The documentary is expected to use footage from James's entire career, including some never-before-seen footage, and is expected that LeBron will also have a camera crew documenting his time with the 76ers this season, per report. And this particular image here, this particular post here, has generated well over what do you call it, 800 or 700 and something thousand likes. Now I can just read from the article quickly here from the New York Times. We don't have to put it up.
Yeah, I just think that LeBron James, man, he got to do something different. And or really, it might be too late in the race for him to, or maybe, they say it's never too late, but he got to do something different. I don't think it's a bad idea for basketball players now to document, their last years coming down to retirement, especially superstar basketball players like LeBron James, because I think that there is a market for that. But you got to find a way to, maybe put a different twist on it. There's nothing wrong with doing what everybody, doing like what's you've seen people do that's successful, right? But you got to have be able to put your own spin on it. So hopefully when LeBron James do this Last Dance documentary, they find a way to put their own spin on it and not just do exactly what Mike did, because that situation that it was a perfect storm. Nobody, everything was shut down, so all people had to do was really just look at that and check that docuseries out.
We don't want to. It just says, it said one of the sources described the talks as being at the 1 yard line, with the expectation that James, who's 41, will have a camera crew documenting his time with the Philadelphia 76ers, who James signed with this month. The 76ers are expected to be the final home of his legendary career. The documentary is expected also to use footage from earlier in James's career, as NBA crews have filmed him since he was a rookie, including some never before seen footage. The financial terms of potential other components of the agreement are not known yet. When Netflix picked up the 8-episode Jerry Jones Dallas Cowboys documentary. Puck reported the deal was slightly less than $50 million.
Now, I didn't even think about this angle. Like maybe LeBron James is just doing this just for money too. Like that might be his main motivation. $50 million is a lot of money. And so maybe, that might be his motivation. Maybe he is not even, he don't really care like how successful it is. He probably gonna get most of his money up front. So, well, like I said, if you don't want to constantly be in Michael Jordan's shadow, you LeBron James, then you got to do something different. So that's my take on it. Make sure to like, subscribe to the channel. Also, don't forget to leave a comment. And I'll check you all out in the next video. Peace.